Welcome to From Hollywood to the Heartland.
From Hollywood to the Heartland.
Where two actors share their journey from Tinseltown to Middle America. Stories and insights about showbiz.
Along with lots of laughter.
It's all right here. Here's your host, veteran podcaster, Beau Tiffany.
To another episode of From Hollywood to the Heartland. This is Beau Tiffany, along with Connor, Quinn, and Anthony Powell. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Doing good.
Doing well. We know your true hard lies with digital voices. That's okay.
It's hard to keep it straight sometimes. It's been a lot as of late. There'll be some new episodes coming out from my other channel. So if you guys are interested, hop over and take a look.
You and I were talking before we went live about the Reagan premiere. So
Yeah,
well, I guess that's timely.
yeah, I would love to set that up. So first of all, a new movie with Dennis Quaid's coming out called Reagan, correct?
Yeah, it's going to be in theaters on Friday, August 30th. So a week from this Friday.
And you potentially may or may not be in this movie. Is that correct?
I shot 2 roles, so I'm hoping the odds have increased, but no, at this point, I don't know. And I was talking to Connor about it. He's shot some scenes for movies, and I'll let him say which ones that he thought he was going to be in, but he didn't make the final cut. So
That's the nature of the business. You roll the dice. I think this is a great forum so that we can do stuff like this that's live, but we can also take questions. So as you are joining in, feel free to ask us questions.
First, and subscribe now. I think it's exciting that you don't necessarily know. I would assume that everybody that's in the movie, that's going to be in the movie, would know, but the fact that you don't know adds an element of excitement, as Anthony and I were talking about pre-live. How do you feel about that, Connor?
I think that I think that's very exciting that we're going to be broadcasting live and that we can take questions in real time. But as always, with all of our podcasts, that if you are coming to this late, feel free to ask a question inside the comments and we can refer to them because we just love our listeners. We love our viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I set this up for the first time, so I hope that they're actually getting this versus not getting this. We'll have to see when this is all done.
I looked on the YouTube channel and it shows that we are live.
Oh, awesome. Excellent.
oh, great.
Then you should actually look on the YouTube channel so that I don't screw up the feed for anybody that might leave a question. You can keep an eye on that box if that's cool with you. So let me get into a couple questions. How did you possibly get cast, or how did you get cast for the movie, Anthony?
Originally, I got an audition from Reagan. The majority of it was shot in Oklahoma. As we've talked about on previous episodes, there's a number of states, including Oklahoma, New Mexico's another one, Louisiana, Georgia is big. A number of states have established very good working relationships with the film industry, giving Hollywood tax breaks. So as a result, there's a lot of movies being shot in those states that I just mentioned. And the majority of Reagan was shot in Guthrie, Oklahoma, which is a small town north of Oklahoma City. But anyway, it was early 2020. Little did we know what was coming with COVID. But in early March of 2020, I went down. There's a casting director down in Norman, Oklahoma, where the University of Oklahoma is, and named Chris Freihofer, and he casts a lot of movies. Anyway, I auditioned in front of Chris for a Reagan cabinet member. And I forgot who it was exactly, but he said, hey, that was a great audition, but truthfully, they're probably going to be casting most of the Reagan cabinet members out of Los Angeles. And he said, I know you used to be a television news reporter, so why don't you improvise being on the White House lawn and doing a live report about President Reagan? So I did it. And he said, great job. I didn't hear anything until August of 2020. So 5 months later, I got an email saying that you've been cast role number 90 as the 1984 news anchor. It was a I don't know, it was like a paragraph that I had to memorize giving a newscast. But it was a chaotic scene because COVID by that time was running rampant. So everyone was getting tested. The set was closed down a number of times. I went down there on a Saturday, as I remember, but I didn't shoot my role till Wednesday. And I don't know, it took maybe an hour of shooting time. And then this is a funny part of the story. So I get in my car to go back to Wichita. I'm on Interstate 35, which is a main interstate. And I look down, I get a call from the assistant director. And she said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm actually heading home." She goes, "If you haven't gotten too far, we'd love you to come back and shoot the role of a White House reporter." And so I get back there. They gave me a trailer for the anchor role, and they came in and gave me the script for the White House reporter and said, "Memorize this." I did, and shot the White House reporter role. So again, I remember as I left asking the director, he was not the main director. It wasn't the main director. Was Sean McNamara, who did that film with that young girl, Bethany Hamilton, who lost her arm in a shark attack. I forgot what's it called, Soul Surfer, or I forgot. Anyway, he's a pretty well-known guy. But it wasn't him. I think it was the assistant director. I said, "Are my odds increased of making?" He goes, "Yeah, definitely." So here we are 4 years later. We'll see.
That's amazing.
We'll see.
Fingers
As I was
crossed.
telling you guys, I was trying to call around, and I called Screen Actors Guild. I called some other people. Nobody knows. So I just gave up, and I'm rolling the dice. And hopefully, Connor, I was seeing on LinkedIn that some people from Oklahoma were in Los Angeles last night for the Reagan out there. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. It's so much fun to be able to go live and be there for the red carpet. So
Yeah.
regardless of whether you're going to be there or not, I think it's exciting that you're going to be there.
Yeah, it
with
will be
people
fun.
you made the film with. Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. It's great just for
This
the
woman
experience.
from Prairie Surf Media posted it on LinkedIn. I don't know if you know her, but I'll ask you later.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think we are connected. So yeah, very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. But
So-
tell us about you were telling me about your film experiences, if you don't mind, and what happened.
So when I was in school at the College of Santa Fe, this is Santa Fe, New Mexico, it would have been probably around 90, 91, somewhere around there. I was a production assistant on City Slickers with Billy Crystal, Daniel Stern, and Bruno Kirby. And I guess they liked a picture. I had submitted a headshot. And so I was going to be owned a store, and I was in different Western outfits. They had several scenes where they were getting dressed to go to this City Slicker, this dude ranch. And so I was one of the guys in town in Santa Fe that was selling them bow ties and that type of thing. So we shot for the first half of a day shooting a scene with, and it never made the cut. Those are the breaks. The only thing they used me for in City Slickers is ADR, which means additional dialogue replacement. Jack Palance wasn't able to whistle because he was battling pneumonia for a lot of the film, and he wasn't able to whistle. He was supposed to whistle at one of the calves to get back in the herd. And so I provided Curly's whistle. That was my claim to fame for City Slickers. And then we were shooting a film by Lawrence Kasdan, the guy that did Empire Strikes Back and so many great films. He was directing Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner. And at this particular scene, Kevin, as Wyatt Earp, was taking a bath or whatever, and I'm supposed to come running and interrupt it to let him know that my brother had died, or I forget what the scene was, but I thought it was one of the most emotional things I've ever done for acting, but didn't make the cut. So it went right to the editing floor, and both of those, I went to the Santa Fe premieres, and of course was a bridesmaid both times. Didn't strike out, or I struck out rather than seeing myself on the big screen for those.
Oh, so like me, you didn't know at the time when you went to go see it if you were in it.
No, I thought surely to God it was a pretty big scene. I thought that I would be in them. I was so emotionally invested with the one, but ultimately the director and production knows exactly what they need and what they don't need, and they're under a certain outline that they have to follow for the story. And at the end of the day, that someone made that choice to nix the scene, and that's what happened.
Well, they gave me a nice trailer, if nothing else.
At least you had a trailer. I got a bag of pretzels. So there you go.
Did you audition for Wyatt Earp?
Yeah, I did. And for City Slickers.
Oh, you
I
auditioned for both.
For both. Yep, absolutely.
But were you a production assistant on Wyatt Earp?
I was, yeah. Greer Garson had donated the actress, legendary actress from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Her and her husband lived near Santa Fe, and in her twilight year, her later years, she donated $2 million for them to build a soundstage at the College of Santa Fe under the thing that's going to be shot there has to use, I forget, like 10% of their staff has to come from students so that they could educate students about the filmmaking process, whether it's a commercial or film or whatever. And so a lot of us got to be production assistants, we're paid, and we had to go out on location and do stuff that PAs do, pull cable and push cameras and load stuff, unload stuff, whatever they needed. And while I was out there, I got to talking with one of the assistant directors they were going to shoot this scene and my headshot to be considered. And then I had a audition. So along with some other guys. So I got the audition, but they went in a different direction. They only had so many stores. Obviously, most of the film couldn't be about them going into stores buying cowboy outfits. So if you see the film, they go into one or two stores to buy cowboy hats, and God knows we needed another shot of them buying bolo ties,
Yeah, right. Did you talk to Jack Palance about voiceover? He had such an incredible voice.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He was more forthcoming at the time than the others. Daniel Stern was really nice. I got to work with him because he had a TV show at the time called The Wonder Years, which is on ABC, and he did the voiceover for that show, the narration. And while he was on location shooting, he still had to do these voiceovers and get them to ABC. So I helped them with turn up a portion of the soundstage into kind of his voiceover booth. And that was the same voiceover booth that I did the ADR for Curly, as a matter of fact. But Jack, as production assistants, we were told, don't bother him. Don't take it's time out of his day and just let him do what he needs to do. But I got to thinking to myself, this might be the one and only chance I ever get to meet Jack Palance. And growing up in Hollywood, like you did, you're not really starstruck, but there was something about Jack that was just like so amazing. About that time, you have to remember my generation, we didn't know that really I wasn't familiar with his legendary films like Shane or the stuff that he did for television. What I grew up with was television. So I grew up with him as the host of Believe It or Not, Ripley's Believe It or Not. So that's what I thought of when I heard Jack Palance. It was Ripley's Believe It or Not. And so I found myself in a ditch. He was on a horse. He was a huge guy. He was 6'8", or I don't forget what he was. Plus he was in boots. Plus he's on a huge horse and very imposing. He was up there, and I found myself in the same ditch, and we had a break. And so I just went up and introduced myself, and he was playing with my brain a little bit, very timid. As I was trying to talk to him, I was scared to death because he's larger than life, and his face was more Jack Palance than I had realized. And so my friends were staying in the background. They didn't want to piss him off because we seen him the way he was treating Billy Crystal, which was like method acting. He would not talk to him at all. So he was gruff around Billy Crystal, which I think it intimidated Billy, which helped with that character. The edginess that they had around each other was created. That tension was created by Jack, I think, on purpose. But he was very warm to me. I said, Palance, I'm one of your biggest fans. And so he's up there and he said, he misunderstood me. And he says, "Oh, you're my number one fan." And I'm like, "No, you have many fans. I'm just saying. And your daughter, she's beautiful. She's also hosts Ripley's Believe It or Not." And so I was wearing this, at that time, Faded Glory was a big brand. I was wearing one of those t-shirts, and it had a little leather pouch. I don't know, a little zipper on the front. It says Faded Glory FG. And he says, "What does that mean?" And reached down and pushed right into the middle of my chest, which it was like, oh my God, it hurt. And I'm like, "Oh, it's Faded Glory." And I'm playing an idiot. I am an idiot. I thought he was being sincere. He was just playing with me. And I said, "Oh, it's FG, it's Faded Glory." And I went on and on about Faded Glory brand. And of course he knew all this stuff. He was just messing with me. And my friends were laughing, but I'm very serious. I'm explaining to him, this is Faded Glory. Faded Glory is a brand name, and they make clothes. And treating him like he was stupid. And he's, oh, I see. Oh, great. I just was mesmerized by his voice, that breathing. He really put it on thick while we're there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to wrap it up, he was so nice to us. He was the only one there with a trailer. Nobody else had a trailer out on location but Jack Palance because of his age and just because of his star. All the other guys had to eat under the mess tent. But he invited 4 of us, production assistants, into his trailer, and we had lunch with him. And Billy Crystal was mad as hell because him and Daniel Stern and Bruno, they were not invited. Jack wanted nothing to do with them. He was creating that tension, and by inviting us in, it really upset those guys. But we loved it. We sat there and he told us stories about Hollywood, and one of the guys asked him about his face, what happened, and he told us that they used to call him a hatchet face. And I don't remember the story exactly, but I think he was a paratrooper, and he landed his parachute in a fire or something like that, and that's what scarred his face. So it was, yeah. He said if he was pretty, he wouldn't be an actor. He wouldn't make any money. But because he's hatchet face, people will never forget who he is, and that's why he constantly got work, is because he's not attractive.
Real character actor.
Yeah. So great story.
And he has such a voice that how can you not recognize even your impression of him? He had that very rasp.
And I was so obsessed at the time. Taco Bell was using him as a voiceover, and he goes, there was this new Diablo sauce or something, and he goes, Taco Bell, they're hot, man. It was just funny as hell. By the way, if you're watching, we are live. You're not seeing a recording. We are absolutely live right now.
Yes, we are live.
August 21st, and it's 7:22 p.m. Central. So if you're watching, if you're in the room watching, ask us a question. Put it in the comments. We're checking them as we go. If you want us to cover something or you have a question about any of us 3, we'd be happy to do it. Just reach out. Beau, what were you saying? I stepped on you there.
Oh, I was just saying that you guys have the best stories. And just, he was such an actor that movie was one of his last ones, and definitely made an impact on me at that point in my life. It was such a wholesome movie, but it's one of those comedies with Billy Crystal being so popular in those days that I went and actually saw in the theater. So
that's cool. It was a good film. Billy, he didn't really have any comment about it. He was indifferent about it. And I thought, this is the most unfunniest thing I've ever seen, because we did every setup more than once. And of course, Billy being a comedian, he didn't deliver the same line twice. It was just different. It was ad lib every damn time. And I just thought, this is not funny. It's cold as hell. We're supposed to be in the middle of summer, and we're at Nambe Falls on the reservation, basically. And I was not having fun. But Jack, somehow he knew. He said, this is going to get an Oscar. And it did. I know at least he got one for Best Supporting Actor. But one of my buddies asked him, how, Mr. Palance, we're going to win an Oscar for this? And he goes, because I'm wearing my lucky gloves. And he had these black gloves. We're like, what the hell are lucky gloves? And he goes, I wore these on a film called Shane, and I won an Academy Award. And I'd never heard of Shane. Of course, we went and watched it, rented it at the time on VHS, and were just mesmerized by his performance. And I'll be damned if he did not win an Oscar. And that's when he famously, in his 70s, went up on stage and did a one-handed push-up to show off that he's in better health than any of the people that were on that set. So just
to get in good with him, I might have said, oh man, Shane was unbelievable. And then knowing my luck, he'd say, well, what did you like about it?
Yeah, exactly. Because I didn't know a damn thing. I never heard of it, even though I'm a film major. Like an idiot, my biggest claim to fame for him was Taco Bell and Dan Ripley's Believe It or Not. I feel like such an idiot now. We were only 19, 20 or so. So what the hell did we know?
Well, one of your many talents is speaking to the dead. So why don't you look him up? And
yeah, we'll see if we can do the Ouija board.
This might be a good transition. One of the things that we were going to focus on in this episode is AI and its current impact on the industry for both acting and voiceover. Anthony and I were talking pre-live, and we were talking about how Connor and Anthony, you both are busier than ever currently. So it doesn't seem to have affected your industry in a negative way currently. What are your thoughts and comments on that?
Anthony, yeah, you go first. I did too much talking.
Well, yeah, there's been There's no doubt that AI has had a bit of an impact, but in a lot of ways, it seems the fear about it was a little bit overblown, because I know I've done several projects where they've had AI voices try it, and they came to me and said, hey, we want a human. So I think a lot of producers are finding that it doesn't save that much time. It's still very mechanical sounding, especially if you listen to YouTube videos are using a lot of AI, and you can tell right away. And I know in talking with producers too, AI has a really hard time with pronunciations. So a lot of times they're ending up spending more time with the AI than they would if they just directed a person. But of course, you can buy an AI subscription for $30 a month and have unlimited choice of voices. That's gonna save you money. And as we all know, this industry isn't different from any other. People are looking to save money. But yeah, I know, talking to Connor, and I talk almost every day. He's been incredibly busy in August. I've been pretty busy too. So the flow of work and auditions for people has not stopped. Definitely not. And the same goes for on camera. I've gotten a lot of auditions. June and July are typically slower months anyway, but ever since August, I've got one for a bank on camera audition tomorrow, and they want some emotional reactions. How's AI going to do that? I don't think it can at this point. I don't know. I think Connor, as Connor says, there'll always be a place for human voices.
I think that you hit it on the head. There's some strengths about AI, and there's also some weaknesses.
Yeah.
But we're still in its infancy. We talked about where its shortcomings are. Where are the strengths that you're seeing currently within the market? Or I should say the industry.
Just probably quicker and cheaper. That's about it. I don't know. What do you think, Connor?
There's no doubt AI is affecting all forms of business. Everyone's job is at risk, even include that they're saying down the line that it's coming where AI will build buildings. We won't need construction workers. So I don't think there is a job that probably won't be affected. But I agree with Anthony, and I've said from the very beginning that there will always be a premium that people are wanting to pay for the human experience, the human voice. If you look at your packaging when you're in the grocery store, a very common tactic to get you to buy that brand is that it's handmade, that it was human created. I don't know about you guys, but I'm almost sick to death of hearing about AI. I'm already tired of it.
Me too.
I can't tell you how many times I've sat down to watch what I thought was going to be a good documentary on YouTube, and then it leads off with an obvious AI voice, and it's horrible. It's absolutely pathetic. So AI is going to take jobs like on-hold messages, cheap things that a company they can get an AI to do something mundane, those mundane tasks, and there's no performance required. I visit different AI places all the time trying to see where we're at with it, and I've yet to see anything that really impresses me. I'm impressed that a computer is generating this, but I still can tell it still can't act it. And at the end of the day, we have to remember AI was created by humans. It wasn't created by AI. Now, I know that there is talk that AI is not only replicating things, but it's also helping itself build. But I think that there is a place for AI, and I don't think that it's going to be to replace jobs. I think that we always will have job security. I think that it can assist in many ways. We use it to a great detail on assisting with the creation and marketing of our podcast here. And so there's plenty of opportunities for AI. I just had a session yesterday with a producer in Germany, and he said, I was asking him why he was interested in my audition in particular. And he said there was a big run of a whole bunch of auditions that came from AI. People were using AI to read the audition thinking that he would hire them. And again, this is something I'm seeing as a misuse of AI. It's not there yet. It's just, if you see a local car ad commercial and it's read by Morgan Freeman, it's obviously fake. It's not Morgan Freeman. And furthermore, Morgan is one of those people that will persecute. He will file a lawsuit and litigate that. as we all have the right to our own voice and to our own ideas.
Mm.
And so I don't think we're far from this debate being over. I know the Screen Act are currently working these things out. There's been some controversial movements with SAG-AFTRA about using AI in the future, but I don't think the issue it's far from being over. We're going to have this discussion till I die.
You've hit,
go
let
ahead.
me jump in real quick. So you hit a bunch of different topics, all related to ethics. What are the ethical concerns of AI?
From the way I understand it, again, I'm not an Einstein, but it borrows from many different things, as we all do. It's really in of itself, it's not creative at all. It just borrows different modalities and tones and replicates patterns that it's seen. So it's not really creative. A human is creative. Again, we are influenced by different things we're exposed to or see, so we have our kind of own algorithm, but we have that free choice that I don't think AI does. And it's just, I go back to with what Anthony says, there is the ethical standpoint of stealing other people's voices without their permission. I saw an article the other day that they're going to go back to classic actors like James Dean and Marilyn Monroe and even current ones like Brad Pitt or Johnny Depp, and they're going to use them to make endless amount of movies featuring AI replicas of them. I think that's wrong. Unless that person gives permission to do, but like John Wayne or James Dean, they didn't give permission. They didn't know that was going to be possible. And I just would hate to see them abuse that to this degree.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Look at Scarlett Johansson. That was only a few months ago.
It sure was. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. And there was a thing I know a long time ago, or last year, a long time ago, but they were thinking of, they being the film industry was thinking, we don't need extras anymore because we'll just use AI to scan a whole bunch of different actors' faces and then we'll forever have them in background as extras. So we don't need to hire extra work.
And a lot of people rely on extra work as their living.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's all kinds of little niche industries within Hollywood. There's people that are audience setters. They fill an audience. They're paid to go to an audience and fill out an audience to make it look good on television. They're there to laugh, to get everyone to laugh. And there's just so many special things, but I always think there's going to be a premium for that human experience. We drive Chevrolets, we drive Audis. There's some people that drive Rolls Royces. There's some people that drive Lambos. There's people that drive Hyundais or whatever the cheapest car is. There's people that choose to drive those because it fits its economy, it fits in their budget. And everyone, we all have our needs. But there's always going to be those people that no matter if they made a $100 car, there's going to be those people that are still going to pay $1 million, $2 million for a Rolls Royce or a Lambo because that's what they want. You're not going to dictate what someone's desire or want is. When the motor industry, the automobile industry replaced the horse, we didn't lose the horse. They just went to do other things. So now when you're in a city and you see a little carriage with a horse, it's a special thing. It's people that are wanting to get married or have a romantic journey. Well, they'll be in a horse thing. So it just changed a little bit. And I think that's going to be the same. In the future, it's going to get to when you hear a human voice, it's going to be special and it's going to mean something special. But to wrap this up, my biggest, the brands that I work for, some of the biggest brands I've worked for are not concerned. They don't want to go the cheap route. They want to stay completely unique, and that is with a human trademark or having a human handprint in it. AI will go to those industries or those businesses that are cheap, that are wanting to cut corners, and that's what they'll do, and there's no preventing that. You know?
I think a lot of times when technology comes on, the creators of the technology think the public will be so eager to embrace it. But that's not always the case. I personally, when I go to the grocery store, I will always try to choose a human checker versus going to the automator.
Me too, because I want to know how their day is. What are their thoughts on what I'm buying? Or, yeah, absolutely. I think since COVID 2020, we've just gotten more and more away from the human experience. We got locked up. We started Zooming. Thank God. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be doing what we're doing without that advent. But at the same time, I think audiences now are wanting to be surrounded. They want to go back to, in public speaking, performances, that live performance, poetry, magic, concerts. People love that. They want something live, not robotic.
Let me ask you.
Oh, sorry.
Well, just real quick. Sorry, I don't know. The switching of the camera angles are funky, but anyways, is there a way that the creative parts that we can, let me rephrase that. What are the ways that voice actors can work alongside AI to enhance their work? It's not a competition. How can we collaborate with AI rather than it's an us or them scenario?
I think with script writing, AI can be a good asset if you were looking to voice something and you had some ideas on paper, and if you wanted to run it through AI, that might be a good thing. But I do think there definitely is competition when it comes to actual voice work between AI and humans.
Mm-hmm. The way they can help is for an actor, a voiceover actor, there's another way of getting a stream of income, and that's by allowing their voice to be replicated by AI.
True.
They're licensing it out. I don't know how I feel about that as of right now, but there's a lot of people that are okay with that, and that's fine. That's your choice. As long as it's your choice and you're being paid for and respected, I appreciate that. As far as the day-to-day voiceover, where I could use it is there's a lot of times I have a script, like I had a 40-minute documentary that I did this week. And it was a long session. It was really long. Where it would be helpful is to use in tiny little bits. So if they needed me to go back and to change the word recording and make it filming, rather than me going way back and rereading that whole line so that it is continuous, I could have my own AI assistant that is not public, but is just one that I own, and it learns my voice as I go. It grows as I grow. It replicates my voice, and I have the full power of it. So then I could go back and say, find the word recordings and substitute the word filming. And of course, it'll do that seamlessly. And in that sort of way, I think it's great to help both the producer and the voiceover. And that's the way I want to see AI used. I don't want to see AI replace filmmakers. I don't want to see replace actors or cameramen or anything like that. I just don't want to see that happen.
But no doubt about it, there are some very well-known companies, which I'm not going to name because I can't, that are paying massive amounts of money to people to use their voices.
Absolutely.
In perpetuity. I had an audition. I made through a few rounds. It was to use my voice for AI. It was a tough decision, but when I saw what they were paying, I had to look out for my best interest too, and it was a no-brainer. So, yeah, it's definitely out there, but at least with these big companies, they're making it financially fair to the actors. Other companies are trying to scam actors by saying, we're not going to use your voice. And then there was that case with the voice actress Bev Standing, right, Connor? They used her voice.
They used Bev's voice. TikTok, when they were first experimenting, they wanted a voice that people could then overlay onto their videos, and she could narrate what was going on. They did use Bev's voice, but they didn't get her permission. So her voice was on 1 million TikToks, and she put an end to it. She litigated that, and I don't know how that. Yeah, I know that she won. I don't know the specifics, nor do I care. That's something between her and them. Anthony and I have a mutual friend that is also a voice actress, and she also recently has done an audition where they were using her voice for an AI or an assistant, like I hope nobody's got their Alexa in the room because I'm saying the word, the A word, the Amazon female, and Siri. So again, they make it very attractive by offering sometimes 6-7 figures to do that. And I told her that I think that's fine as long as they don't have a provision that says that I will no longer record voiceover. Because in the beginning, that was the way a lot of them were doing it. You're going to give us your voice and no longer record voiceover. Probably for a lot of people, that's very attractive. But for me, it's not, because this is my everything. This is something that I enjoy doing. But I'm not judging anybody that wanted to do that, because maybe that's what they want. That's their parachute. And if it's the right number, then why not they take care of themselves? That's between them and their family. And that's nobody else's business.
But Joe, here's another example. I was just talking with a friend out in California, and where you see a lot of Teslas. But if you think about it, all this, electric cars, some of the big companies like Ford have drastically reduced production of electric cars because people are finding they're just not that feasible, charging stations. So I guess what I'm saying is, like I said, sometimes I think there's this, people, the companies think that people are just going to latch on to this new technology. And I think in a lot of ways, people are sick of technology. We're surrounded by it.
Right.
Like,
You see all these vacations, like you go and you're not allowed to bring any form of technology. You're
right.
and you have to use these things called maps that are made out of paper, and you can't use any technology to find out where the hell you're going. People have asked me, how did you get around New York back in this? My God, you had to stop in a pizza shop and ask how the hell do I get to this? How do I get to the Empire State Building? Or you bought these things called maps, and they were magical because you unfolded them and then they would never go back to that format again. And you had to walk around with a map and a compass.
Gas stations were your map service.
That was the reason gas stations existed. Right.
I was never able to figure out how to refold a map.
No, that's like fitted sheets. It's impossible. It's not meant to be done.
Yeah.
You just wad them up and put them in a drawer.
Let me take this opportunity to make a humor break. Imagine a scenario where AI accidentally botches a line in a big budget production. Can you see something like that happening?
Botching a line? Not unless it's on purpose.
Not necessarily botching. Maybe it's just rendering, or there's a lot of stuff if you're automating, maybe it's not caught by a human in the process.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anytime you have a human involved, it's going to happen. And again, that's not AI. That's not a computer. It's the human error of the guy or gal putting it in. That's why I love emails now that are misspelled, texts that are misspelled, because now I know they're not using AI to talk with me, because I am so sick. I can see an AI email a mile away. And I'm so tired of people going to Chat GPT and finding out, how do I phrase this? It's so obvious. It uses pretty much, I can even tell which model they're using based on what keywords. And also, if you put the same question on different inputs from multiple different computers, you're going to get pretty close to the same answer. Nothing original. And people are walking away thinking that it is original response. It's not an original response. And then I've asked it specific things, and it's told me full out lies, total things that were not true. It's quoted law citations that are not real. It's told me facts about the Statue of Liberty that were not true or not true. It still has a long way to go, even though it's pretty impressive. I see still a lot of sinkholes in it.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of tools that are based on the AI platform. So you have everything like Descript, which is something that we use for our editing. But there's a ton of tools out there that are built on it. It's like the .com. So you have all of these apps that are coming out. Some are able to generate video from audio. Some of them are able to create photos from just descriptive words. It's amazing. The art behind me and Anthony are great examples of what you can get with AI if you just spend a little bit of time. There are definite creative aspects that it can do, but it's all human input. But with that said, I want to pose a question. Can AI ever truly ad-lib, or is it always going to be a human input?
I don't think it can. Again, I'm not Einstein, but it's from what I've seen, no, it can't even get certain facts right, much less do something creative. I have no doubt, because 2 years ago, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We've talked about AI. People have been talking about it for years, but it didn't really pop on my radar. As I know a lot of voice actors who became worried about it about 2 years ago, is when they were like, this is really becoming a thing.
And they didn't really become hit or public accessible until the beginning of this year? Or
I think so.
It's late 2023.
Yeah, because I had access to one of them. I can't remember which one. And it was great. You could create Walt Disney at a sewing machine, and it would do its best with 7 fingers and 3 noses, it would give you a Picasso Walt Disney trying to sew a parachute or whatever the hell. Right. There are things that it's gotten a lot better. I've seen some of the stuff now. It's gotten better with the hands and stuff like that. Will it have full creativity? I think that's yet to be seen, but I have no doubt it probably will come. It'll probably be down the road.
What do you guys think is in the next 5-10 years? What are we looking at?
Total annihilation by AI. They'll get bazookas and kill all of us.
Skynet takeover?
Yeah. Look at the images that they thought in 1950 For example, the Jetsons, they thought that we're going to be, by 2025, we're going to be flying around in these little hovercrafts or whatever. And while some of that is out there, there's still the 405 every day in LA to contend with. That is not, even though I wished many a time I had a flying car, that's still not a reality. So it's hard to say what's going to be out there. I sure as heck couldn't predict AI being here the way it is.
Yeah.
I still use a microwave to make my popcorn. Maybe that'll change.
Technology is not necessarily good for society. I hear a lot of people arguing life was better before smartphones.
Yeah,
And
well,
it
true.
certainly was better without social media.
Be true.
I don't know how well it will be embraced. There seems to be there's definitely been a definite backlash against it. Look at the Screen Actors Guild strike.
Totally. People are very divisive, and there's people that have left the union because of their stance on it. And we just haven't found a clear path forward. The majority of us, I think we're getting there. I almost feel like they're going to have to, the lawmakers going to have to treat this almost like a drug, like meth or heroin. They're going to have to regulate its usage because, who's to say that whatever political party they want, pick a side, they could make that guy or girl do anything they want. They could make him murder the Pope. They could have him say anything negative or positive.
You're talking like deep fakes, right?
Deep fakes, which is AI. Yeah. Or who's to say that they record Beau, they call Beau with a random phone call. And while it's asking you questions, it's recording your responses and learning your voice, your pattern. And then they go through a skip trace and they know all the people that Beau knows, all of his friends and all the people that are associated, all your contacts in your phone. And then they go and make calls to those people using your voice, telling them that they need to buy product A, B, or C, or invest in something because I, Beau Tiffany, think that this is wonderful. And they may fake your number. And so
anybody that knows me
knows
not to listen to me. I'm just putting that out there.
I totally agree. I was just using your name just for simplicity.
I think the moral of the story is people crave human contact.
Mm-hmm.
Ask any voice actor what's one of the downfalls of being a voice actor, being isolated in your home.
Yeah, totally.
During the pandemic, there was a company whose name is well known. I'm not going to repeat it. I don't want to get a legal problem. They were selling exercise bikes that you could do at home. Their stock went up to 168. Today, the stock's at 3. Why? Because people want to go to gyms. They want to be around people. That's one of the reasons I do group fitness. I love the social aspect of it. And so I don't think it's any different for voiceover producers who are wanting to connect with a human, like the example Connor just cited. And what I would say, Connor, the question I would have to those voice actors submitting AI auditions, what are you going to do? Let's say for some miraculous reason you booked it and there's a directed session and they say, hey, we want you to say it this way. What are you going to say? Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see what AI says. So how did they think they could get away with that when it would come to a directed session?
And the producer was so upset. They were so bored with these auditions. They just were ready to just scrap it all. And after many, like 80 auditions or so, they finally get to mine, and I'm a human. And which we can talk about later, the different ways of slating an audition and that type of thing. It was obvious that I was human by the humor that I inject into my intro or whatever. That was a reprieve for them. And they were like, this is what we want to go with. We don't want AI. We don't want a computer. And I think it's funny, even humans that say, I hate humans, they always joke about it. They have the memes, the t-shirts, say, I hate people, or this would be a great business if it weren't for the customers. What's funny about all of that is they always say that to other humans because they want feedback. They want that interaction. So as much as they hate humans, they can't live without humans.
Yeah, there's a human element for sure.
I can live without some humans, but
yeah, that I totally agree. In fact, I have a list I carry in my wallet. But other than that, even we take one of the oldest forms of communication that we have, which is literature, writing. So we have authors, we now have audiobooks, and we have voiceovers that narrate those. And there's been a lot of talk. Anthony and I will be speaking at WriterCon towards the end of this month and first of next. And that's a big topic about a lot of authors and publishers using AI. So I think that a lot of them, again, on a budget, yeah, why not? Use AI. It's cheap. It's great. They can do it fast. They can read through it. But at the end of the day, you're competing, and the key word is competing with other authors and other stories. And there's going to be more people that are going to be listening to humans. I would rather listen to a podcast like this with humans. I would not listen to a podcast where AI talks or was replicating their voices. I don't want to hear John Wayne talk to James Dean or whatever they think is cute. I'm so effing tired of AI.
Yeah, and as soon as I hear a YouTube video with an AI voice, I immediately shut it off.
I unsubscribe and gone. Unlike you folks who are listening, subscribe and hit the bell. You sound like a million other YouTubers. But
Subscribe, yes, absolutely.
I never thought I would say that, but yeah, subscribe. Comment. It helps our algorithm.
Are we intimidating like Jack Palance? Is that why people aren't wanting to ask any questions?
At this time, this is a new thing for us, so we don't have a standing room only.
Yeah, it's our first live stream.
Right. So
4th episode.
Right. If you're watching this now, maybe this live is already over with, but right now it's 7:56 Central Time on August 21st. We've got a few people in the room. Ask us a question in the chat. Just type in your question. We'd be happy to answer anything you have.
Because that's a big reason we wanted to do this podcast, is to have interaction with our viewers.
I think as our algorithm changes and grows, then more people find that this live is available and it'll just grow, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And we want to be a service to people, those wanting to get into the entertainment business. This is a chance to get some free advice. And we've talked about exhaustively, the voiceover, there's a lot to learn.
There is. And if you are watching this at a future date, we read the comments at all times. All three of us are constantly scouring the comments. So please leave a question, or you can email us. Just Google any of us and you'll find a way to contact us. But it's easier just to write in the comment section here. Just write your question. And if we don't get to it in the next podcast, we probably will the one after. Yeah.
Our subscribers are really growing. We've seen like exponential growth.
Oh my gosh,
few weeks. So please.
Holy cow. Are we almost at 3,000?
We are. Is that amazing?
My Lord. Yeah. We started with one person and that's how it started. And now we're at 3,000. So there you go. And believe this or not, when we hit 3,500, I don't know if this is still true, but Beau Tiffany has said he would shave his head if we get to 30. Yeah. Oh. Did you want me? I didn't know if you want me to disclose that, or was it you or was it Anthony? I can't remember. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure it was Anthony.
Oh, okay, I'm already bald. So it doesn't matter.
I'll do other things.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but Beau, back to you.
Yeah, thank you for
I'll go through the self checkout at the grocery store.
Oh, you're so daring.
Believe me, if you knew how much I hated it, you
right.
Anyway.
What are your plans, Mr. Red Carpet? You're going to be headed out to the Reagan premiere within the next week,
next Wednesday, the 28th. Yeah.
Wow.
So you won't be on our live stream next Wednesday. We will miss you. Potentially, we'll either have one with just Connor and I, or we'll have one of the episodes we have in the can,
right,
and just use that as a filler.
That's cool. Anthony, are you still planning on recording on the red carpet if they allow you to? Are you going to do that? Get some footage?
Yeah, I was just going to do a little thing.
Just a little high from nowhere, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And definitely. I'm not talking about a 2-hour broadcast, for God's sake, with entertainment.
I was just going to do a little, I'm live here at the red carpet, blah, 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 if they allow it. I don't
say something more than blah, 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 because that will just be more entertaining if you. No, I'm looking forward to it. I feel in my bones that you're going to be in the movie and you'll be leaving us to get your Academy Award in February.
I know your side hustle is being a pastor, so I'd ask that you pray for me.
I will. And as the archdiocese of my own bountiful, whatever I'm going to say. No, I think you're going to be in the film. I really do. I'm predicting it now.
Your luck has been pretty good. You were in that Dax video to be a man for any of our listeners.
My God. If you guys have not checked this out, go look up the Dax video. You got to know what this is.
DAX.
And what's the name of the song? It's a great song.
To Be a Man, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And right at the very beginning, you're going to see Dax walking and singing, and they cut to a truck, and you're going to see
Anthony Powell, character of the video.
He is. It's a very touching scene. It's a touching song.
Yeah.
30 million views on that video.
Oh
That's
my
amazing.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, man.
Lots
Yep,
of
you never
talent.
know.
Yeah. So with that luck, I'm pretty sure you'll probably be in the movie. And they called you back for that second cast role, right? That's always an encouraging sign too.
Oh, you mean when I was leaving?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured I did something right if they called me back.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we'll see.
Sending positive energy your way, buddy.
If it's meant to be, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
We usually try to let our viewers go with some kind of tidbit, insight, piece of advice, or story. Who wants to field this one tonight?
I think that for those that are wanting to be into any acting or voiceover in of itself, is so many people are wanting to get to the end thing. To them, success is a destination, but it's not. I thought that for many years that success was the destination, but it's actually a journey. So enjoy the ride because you're only going to do it one time. So quit rushing through and saying, when am I going to do this? When am I going to do that? And enjoy the whole process because that's what makes the ride worthwhile. So once you achieve whatever your level of success is, by the time you get there, your definition of success has already changed again. I've often said that when I won my first Telly Award, I thought, now I need to win 2. Then I won 2, and now I want 3. Same way if I won an Oscar. Yes, I would absolutely be fine with 1 Oscar. For a voiceover, that's impossible. But you never know. I would probably want 2 Oscars. Success, whether it's material or whether it's just you learning to go over your own hurdles, you should always be changing because that's what life is. There's always going to be change. So enjoy the change and enjoy the stretch to get your level of success. But keep growing. Don't just stop there. I think because once you do, you're dead.
Yeah.
Once you quit growing or once you quit desiring, it's stalemate.
There is something to be... Go ahead, Anthony.
I'm sorry. My word for the evening is perseverance. And the reason I say that, as Connor mentioned, we're speaking at Writer Conference for Writers in Oklahoma City on Saturday, August 31st. Part of my speech is talking about my dad. For any of our viewers who don't know, my dad was a well-known screenwriter, wrote for a lot of old shows, Hogan's Heroes, MASH, Mary Tyler Moore, Andy Griffith. And
just the legendary classics, nothing else.
And growing up, as I did in Malibu, I thought, oh, Dad's always been successful. But he reminded us he moved from Cincinnati, Ohio, and lived in some pretty dingy Hollywood apartments, pounding the pavement for years. Success definitely is a journey in this business and can be frustrating, but you got to, I'm gearing up tomorrow. We get up tomorrow morning. I've got 10 auditions to do. And that's what it's all about, putting it out there, doing the work. In this business, auditioning, you'll spend most of your time auditioning.
Yeah, and if you're not good with that, then you probably need to find something else to do. Go work at Walmart.
You got to see auditioning as every audition's a chance to be heard.
It is.
Maybe meet somebody new. And I have to remind myself of that. You can get burned out doing it, but you've got to see it as Connor said, part of the journey. So persevere to anyone in this field. That's an absolute essential, perseverance.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I hear oftentimes is people look down on dreamers sometimes, but I think there's something to be said about dream chasers. So you have to have motivation behind your dreams to achieve them. And I think that's the one thing that most of us, or at least us 3 sitting together right now, have in common is we dream and then we put forward the steps to chase those dreams.
Yeah.
And that's the insight that I think I want our listeners to take away with. Dream and then put your feet one in front of the other and make the steps to get there, because nothing comes easy and nothing comes free. But at the same time, if you put in the effort, it's amazing where you can achieve and where you can bring yourself.
Keep on keeping on.
For sure.
That's right. All right, guys, this was episode 4 of our first live stream. Thank you, viewers, for anybody that zoomed in, and thank you for being a part of this. I think this is something that's a lot of fun. It's got a lot to offer, and I hope that you guys are catching some nuggets of insight when you do these. You guys have a great day. Till next time.
Thank you, sir.
You bet, guys.
Thanks.